Hey everybody, welcome to the first video of our Factory Reset chat podcast, whatever you want to call it. We are actually making these videos in order to try to help answer more of the questions that we get a lot in the gym, but also to try to add as much value as we can to individuals coming in. Maybe you're not even going to our gym, maybe it's just going to help you out. So that's what we're trying to do with this. So my name is Rick.
And I'm Cassie.
This is Cassie. And so I hope you guys get some of the value out of these videos as we're making them. So we called it the Factory Reset podcast because when you are dealing with as much crap as that we all deal with from day to day, we worked corporate, we have been in gyms, we have been in business, we have had many different relationships, friendships. We've been married for, I was corrected, over 15 years, right? And this is the second take we did of this video. And in the first take, I couldn't remember. So you guys don't get to see that, but you guys get to, hear that part of it. So we want to make sure that we are adding as much value as we can in all of the different facets, because as coaches, both of us are coaches from different disciplines, but as coaches, we get a lot more questions than just specific discipline questions. So I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, second degree, and have been doing Muay Thai and kickboxing since I was about 6 years old as far as the kickboxing side, and then the Muay Thai later on around 2007-ish, going from there. So, and then Cassie, you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
I played soccer since I was 5, competitively, very competitively, played some college ball. I lift weights, I did CrossFit, I coached CrossFit. Now I work out in the garage gym, and I'm also a certified nutritionist. Yeah,
so we have a lot of, we own businesses together, and we do a lot of other things on the side. We also have a family, 2 boys. And so a lot of our videos are going to be around topics that we receive and other things and problems that we've run into and stuff like that. So to jump right into it, to get right going, one of the first and most common questions that we get a lot, especially from new individuals, is how often should I train per week? Especially when you're new, right? When you're new, maybe you're very new to fitness, maybe you're very new to martial arts, maybe you're just new to just being active, and you want to know how much you need to do to actually be successful. Cassie, you want to take this one? So,
if you're brand new coming off the street, I'm going to tell you probably 3 to 4 days a week.
Why?
You need to acclimate to being able to train that many days. If you've never done it and you jump right in, and most of the time after day 1, you're going to be hurting, and the next day you may not even be able to get up out of your chair or sit on the toilet.
But it also depends on your goals.
Well, yeah.
Right?
But if you're a brand new person, goals though, how many days can you commit to being in the gym? But brand new off the street, you're really not going to want to train more than 3 to 4 days a week. Once you've been doing that for probably, I'd say about a month-ish, you could up it to whatever you'd like.
How do you kind of figure out that threshold?
I talk a lot about listening to your body, how your body responds, and to upping those training days. If you go 3 to 4 days and then all of a sudden you jump in and you're 6 days in the gym, and after day 3, you just can't. You're just so slow. Everything hurts. You're not responding. I feel like that's your body saying, this is too much.
Yeah.
We might need to scale back. But the other factor that really plays a big role is what are your goals? If your goals are to compete or to level up your black belt or weight loss or things like that, spending more time in the gym is beneficial for you. But that's when you kind of need to figure out, okay, so I need to go hard on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I'm also going to be in the gym Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But those are the days that I'm just going to focus on my technique or nailing down a weakness or just getting in fitness in general, whatever that might be.
And yes, you did hear that right. She is saying to train 6 days a week, not just 3 days a week. And yes, she is crazy. Some of us are getting old, and maybe
He's getting old. I'm not getting old.
maybe you can't sustain that level of discipline and consistency. But consistency is honestly the biggest part. But can you elaborate a little bit more on when you're saying train 6 days a week? You're not saying train 6 days a week.
Yeah, you're not going to go balls to the wall every single day. Your body can't handle it. Nobody's body can handle that. I talk to anybody, bodybuilders, powerlifters,
Minus David Goggins, maybe.
CrossFit Games athletes, world champions in jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, all of those. They don't go in every single day and train so hard that by the time they leave, they're just, somebody's got to help pick them up off the floor. They have days in cycles, and that's why I said maybe on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you go really hard, and then the other days you don't. Or maybe 6 days is just too much. But
we have like active recovery days.
yeah, but that's that's the other reason I said maybe on the other 3 days, maybe one of those days is just going in and hitting the bag and jumping some rope, or maybe we don't even go into the gym, but we're still actively training. We go for a walk or a run or a hike or a whatever might feel good for you. But typically in general fitness, most of the time, the recommended is anywhere between 4 to 6 days a week.
So when you're doing those 4 to 6 days a week, it's also probably important. And I don't say probably, I'm kind of just softballing her a question right now. But it's very important to have a pretty good handle on your nutrition. So if you're, the old saying goes, you can't outwork a bad diet. And if one of your goals is to lose weight, simply going to the gym a few times a week isn't going to do it for you. You know, it's not going to be enough because the calories that you are intaking, you don't have enough time in the gym to burn them all off, right? So when you are training, not only do you need the calories to actually fulfill the goals that you have in training, but so where you're not like completely dead running out of gas, but also if your goals are to lose weight or even you're cutting weight for the next weight class or whatever, that should be also a factor, right? So
I have a lot to say on that, and I don't know if talking about all of that today goes in with it. But
let's just get a little overview.
In a nutshell, it is important to fuel your training, and the best way to do that is before. So if most of us primarily train in the evenings because that's when classes are, or that's just simply the easiest that fits in our schedule. So for lunch, you really want to make sure that you're having a protein and a carb. I'm not saying only eat that, but those two things need to be in your meal.
And the window before training?
Typically most will tell you anywhere between at least 2 and 3 hours so that you have enough time to digest and be able to utilize that fuel. Some people need a little bit longer before. So if I normally train at 4 p.m.-ish, give or take, and I typically eat lunch between 11 and 11:30.
Okay.
So that's a bigger window than 3 hours, but that's when I feel good. Where some people 2 hours before is where they feel the best. And so that might mean that you eat lunch at 11 because that's what works best for your work schedule, but you're training at 5 or 7 or whatever. So you schedule a snack that primarily has a good source of protein and carb at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Is there anything that they should stay away from when you're first starting? So like for me, for example, if I know that I'm training hard, dairy is a problem. Like I'm gonna feel like heavy and kind of nauseous. Spicy, I don't want heartburn or anything like that when I'm trying to fight people. That would suck. You're like trying to fight yourself while you're fighting another person. Is there any other ones that you think or?
No, everybody's different. Some people could consume all the spicy foods and not have heartburn and be completely fine and just call you a weenie.
Well, some people show up, and I'm not going to name names in here, but we had a girl one time that came in, and we were doing Muay Thai, and we were about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes into class, and every single time I look over, she's throwing punches like this and kind of like grabbing her stomach, and I'm like, hey, you okay? And she's like, yeah, I was hungry right before class, so I stopped at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I got some wings. You're just like, you deserve all of this. You 100% deserve this. Like that was like, why?
So there's really, every person's going to be very different. So it's hard to say that across the board, like stay away from this or don't eat that. But in general, you just want to make sure that whatever you're eating, you give yourself enough time to be able to utilize that fuel instead of make training harder with the.
What about the recovery part? Because like one of the things, circling back to the amount of days that you want to train, one of the most important things that you have to factor in is your ability to be consistent. Because if you train 1 day a week, and then you train 3 days a week, or I'm sorry, if you train starting 3 days a week, because maybe you're gung ho or whatever, and then you get so tired that it ends up pushing you to 1 day a week, and then maybe the next one it's 2 days a week, and the next one it's 1 day a week, and then what's going to happen is that the habits that you're developing is actually going to make it much harder for you to actually get to your goals because you're not developing a consistent habit of actually training. So when you're eating, how do you eat in a way when you're training and you're trying to maximize the amount of consistency to make it so you actually can recover?
So protein and carbs are like the two main that I would tell you are the most important to your training and your recovery. Your fats and your fruits and veggies and everything like that all falls into place once you kind of narrow and dial those in. But your muscles need all the protein to recover, and the carbs is what fuels everything else. And those two things really help in recovery with also how your performance is going. So most of the time you'll want to consume a protein and a carb there's a bunch of different studies. Most likely you're going to want to consume a protein and a carb between 1 and 2 hours after you're done training.
Okay. Yeah, because I've always heard the 30 minutes, the 30-minute rule, but like you mentioned, there's a lot of data that's come out that said that many different things about that. So the important part is to be able to fuel yourself, to be able to recover and build back up all of the breakdown that you just did in the gym.
Yeah.
So to kind of conclude this one, we're going to be trying to expand a lot of these videos and not trying to throw so much into each one. So you don't have, a 30, 45-minute video on several different facets of it. We can actually hit several different things across 3 videos that kind of may tie into each other. So to kind of summarize it, when you are trying to train and you are starting this journey out, or even maybe you're trying to just have and build better practices, between 3 and 4 days a week going hard and then filling the other days in, giving yourself 1 solid rest day probably is a good idea.
Depending on where you're at in your life, for sure you want 1 solid rest.
So for us, that's Sunday. That's our family day.
For most people, Sunday is your rest day because it's a family day, or it's a I don't want to do anything day, or sometimes it's a chores day or
meal prep for the week.
Those kinds of things.
We do a lot of that. For the most
part, I think Sunday across the board is what everybody's rest day. Not everybody, but majority.
Yeah.
I have several athletes that in the past that I've coached that ran into injuries or just felt like it was too much. And so we actually scheduled for them specifically 3 rest days.
Full rest days.
Full rest days.
Like not even active recovery, full
like
rest
didn't
days.
even come into the gym because I knew they couldn't just do like an active recovery day. Like we scheduled 3. And for those people in particular, it was Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And the Wednesday is what broke up the week for them in May. So Monday, Tuesday was good training days for them. That Wednesday rest day really helped them to be able to have good training days on Thursday and Friday.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So they did them back to back. Yeah, usually when I do 2 training days hard back to back, it just smashes me.
Well, but if you think about the way we set it up, Sunday was rest. It was train Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday was rest. Train Thursday, Friday. Saturday was rest.
Yeah.
The other common thing that we see in most gyms is everybody will train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they'll take Saturday, Sunday off. And those days may include active rest because they might go out for a bike ride or a hike or something with their family on Saturday, right? So that's an active recovery day or active rest day. And then Sunday is just a nothing day. But for the most part, most of us find a really good groove on what is good for us and what feels good.
Yeah, you just kind of have to experiment a little bit.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is finding something that you can commit to being consistent with.
Correct. And that's why a lot of people commit to the gym Monday through Friday and then take the weekends off, because it's they go to the gym every day at the same time, at the same class, right? So they get to know the coach, they get to know the people, and then they have their weekends to themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So in summary, nothing was answered. Right? So it's like, wow. No definitive answer to this.
In summary, as much as everybody hates it, it really depends on you. It depends on you and your goals and how you feel and what you can commit to.
But the biggest thing is being able to commit to something. So if
What
you go
you
too
can
hard and
commit
then you're
to.
not able to commit to anything after that, if it becomes too difficult, you're gonna quit. I mean, that's what makes everybody quit, is because things become unsustainable. At some level, they become unsustainable. But at the other side of that, if up here is unsustainable, don't think that down here is going to be sustainable because I can train once a week. Because maybe you get sick, maybe you get called in, late to work or something like that. Something happens, right? And all of a sudden you've skipped an entire week. And that's one of the problems that we run into a lot is with the consistency side, is when individuals train too little, one, they don't make a lot of progress. Like, how are you really going to make any progress doing anything for just 1 hour a week?
Yep.
But the other problem is that the first time you miss, now all of a sudden it just becomes another 7 days before you get to do it again, or before you get to try to make progress, or you're going to get that momentum going again.
Yep.
So it's good to have enough kind of in the middle where you're not overtraining, but you're going enough where if you miss a day, it doesn't kill your whole week.
Yeah.
You're able to stay consistent with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is just the first video of many to come, and we're going to be making a lot of these. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks, Cass. And
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.